Hello everyone, Strategy Test here, and today we are back on Earth 1. And we are going to talk today about the High Elves. Yes, again the High Elves, as this is a continuation to the previous video I made about the High Elves in general. I said that the High Elves are the best race in all of Total War Warhammer 2. And I talk about the building browser and the units and the economy, as you can see here. But today we're going to take a look, an in-depth look about the legendary lords. So the first lord that we are going to take into consideration is Tyrion. So Tyrion is the legendary lord for Lorem faction. The trait for Tyrion is Great Warrior and is a skill. But before talking about the legendary lords, I am going to talk about the factions. So in Total War Warhammer 2, there's factions and there are legendary lords. Tyrion is a legendary lord, and Lorem faction is a faction, as you can see here as a faction effect. So, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about both the legendary lords, but I'm going to separate them between the faction. So a faction can be not good, but a legendary lord is amazing. So Tyrion, for me, is the best legendary lord of the High Elves, but his faction is not good, in my opinion. So as you can see, the faction effect for Lorem faction is diplomatic relations plus 20 with High Elves, construction time minus 15% for Shan of Cain building, and recruitment duration minus 1 turn for infantry and cavalry units. Yeah, that is not very good in my opinion, but let's see Tyrion before everything. So Tyrion has the skill lines, the blue line and the red line, and also I think the yellow line. Okay, they are normal. They are normal Elves Lord skill lines, I think, and there's nothing really to talk about there. But and there's the various dedicate to various gods, which is okay. But the real thing about Tyrion is here is a true skill line. This Majesty of Earth 1 and Bloodline of Narian. You will never get to use the skill line of Bloodline of Narian, to be honest, because you should in every case scenario go for Majesty of Earth 1. Bloodline of Narian just puts Tyrion more, but Tyrion, as you can see, doesn't even need to be boost more, and also if you really want to boost him more, you can do this by which basically makes him maybe about as powerful as if you get all of these 4 traits. But honestly, Majesty of Ultron is amazing. As you can see, all the bonus that Majesty of Ultron gives are really good. Also his items, Out of Avalon, Dragon Armor of Venerian, and Sunfang. Especially Sunfang with that Public Order plus 3 all provinces makes Tyrion the best legendary lord for the High Elves. In my opinion, you shouldn't really put Tyrion or Malandir since it makes him better. It doesn't really make him better. It makes him actually worse, in my opinion. But if you want, you can get him Malandir. And also Great Warrior, you can see upkick minus 15% for Spearmen, Archers, and Sealams. Very good for early games. So I say that Tyrion has probably the 3rd most powerful faction for the Elves, and Tyrion itself is the 1st legendary lord as for power, at least. Then let's go to Alariel. Alariel is the leader of the Avalon faction, which starts here, and a great thing about Avalon, which makes them the 2nd most powerful faction for the Elves, is the ability to build Handmaiden's Gallery at tier 3 instead of tier 4, and also boosting Sisters of Avalon and Handmaidens. Also, Alariel itself, herself actually, this is the Sisters of Avalon and End Maidens. As you can see, missile damage plus 15% for Sisters of Avalon and End Maiden units. For Lord's Army, very good. And his skill, the well, the red line is as normal, but here in the blue line something's changed. Instead of Iron Disciplinarian, she gets Radiant, which is basically an improved version of Iron Disciplinarian. She gets Elven Healing Ear instead of Ear. She gets, instead of Renowned and Feared, Renowned and Loved, which in my opinion is a better Renowned and Feared. She also has some magic. As Blood, very good spell. Life Bloom, Shield of Sapphire, you can get some good things. His magic is okay. But yeah, you have as Tyrion, two skill lines: Tradition Dictates and Blood and Fire. In my opinion, as Tyrion, you shall never go for Blood and Fire. It pisses only his army for the most part, while Tradition Dictates is amazing. Leader of the Code, okay. Senator of Asia, amazing skill. Spiritual Defender, amazing skill as well. His items are okay, not very good in my opinion. There's better items, but since she provides all of this to his faction, is very good in my opinion. Also, she gets Word of Isha, Word Save 10%, Isha's Blessing, okay. Duchy of the Everqueen and Caspian, okay, not fantastic. And also she can get on the Great Eagle, which is very good, as she isn't really fighter. She's more of a spellcaster, to be honest. And that's Alaria, which, as Avalon, the second most powerful faction and the second most powerful legendary lord. Then there's Teclis, the Order of Loremasters, probably as the worst faction. The Order of Lawmasters doesn't really provide any good burst. Also, the starting position isn't really hard, but is isolated. The first High Elves faction that you are going to encounter is the Citadel of Dusk, and well, the Citadel of Dawn, the Fortress of Dawn actually, which aren't legendary lords. And for Ultuan, at least in the Vortex campaign, you need to make half of the map, and also in the Mortar Empires, you need to make a lot of, in general, voyage to get to Ulthuan. But that's not really as important as Teclis himself. Teclis' preeminent mage is mate rate, to be honest, but his skill are amazing. His blue line is normal, his red line is normal, but there, as you can see, he has many things. Teclis is one of the few legendary lords that can get like a lot of law of magic. As you can see, he can get a lot of law of magics, and it's like I think 8 points. Yeah, actually, to get to manifold sorcery, you need in total 10 points in total. 1, 8, and 1, which makes them 10. And manifold sorcery, speaking of which, is an amazing skill. Winds of Magic costs -2 for all spells, all characters. Amazing skill. His spells are really good. Net Environment Talk, Chain Lighting, and Regrowth. These are the things that you want to go for. And also Flames of the Phoenix, very good in my opinion. Then there's his special lines: Sublime Focus, okay. Evasion, okay. Magical Reserves, okay. Greater Arcane Conduit, amazing. Gleam of Void, okay. Master of the Order, amazing. This really improves mages and low Masters of Void by a lot. That ward save and reaction cost or reaction success chance, very good if you want to use low Masters of Void in the campaign map and the mages in your armies. But then moving on to his item, Scroll of Void item, Moonstaff of Lilith, good item in my opinion. Regrowth is a thing that you may want to go for as Teclis, and Walk Around the Suffering is is the best item for tech list. Aero capacity +1 for mages, air recruitment +2 for mages, and air recruitment for mages or promises is amazing. And then the Sword of Teclis makes him a better fighter, but also having the ability to reduce the Ruins of Magic cost -3 for chain lighting, which allows Teclis to have chain lighting at, I think, 6 points with Manifold Sorcery and the Sword of Teclis. 6 points since it's -2 for Manifold Sorcery, which makes him 9, and Sword of Teclis -3 makes him 6. She doesn't really have a special mount, but Murdered Ithmal Steed is good, as is a spellcaster, not a fighter. The Potion of Charoi also very good, and the Sword normal. So that's for tech list. I think the third most powerful Legendary Lord, and as a faction probably the worst, even if you really don't want to set the worst for the High Elves, since they are all amazing. So I talked about them, and remains Alithana. So Alithana is a bit of a strange thing. Alithana is, in my opinion, the worst Legendary Lord for the High Elves, even if he is really good. But his faction is probably the second strongest faction in all of War Amateur. So Nagaryth faction allows to recruit the Shadow Walkers, which in general, a good unit. Probably Sisters of Avalon are better for the armor piercing, but they are a good unit in general, and you really want to get them in a Lithuanian army, since he boosts a lot them to the Raven Lord, and his skills, Ruthless for example. And also I think you can get a special building as a Nagaryth faction, but that's not really what makes Nagaryth so good. Nagaryth has option for Nagaryth armies to, instead of having just a normal stance, a non-stance, you can get the stalk stance, I think it's called, which is basically the stance of normal Skavens, which allows to I think if you attack you get 25% percentage to get an ambush as Skaven, and as Nagaryth you can get that too, since it's basically the nonsense for Nagaryth, which is amazing for us the High Elves, since basically the High Elves are usually the ones that get ambushed, and since you as a Nagaryth you get these stock sense and many options to avoid being ambushed, it's really good. But that's not all about Nagaryth. Nagaryth has also another stance. I think it's called it's called Shadow Walk stance, maybe. Yeah, I think it's called like that. The Shadow Walk stance allows you to basically move like the underground stance, as for Skavens, Greenskins, and Dwarves, but also without any kind of interception. So, for example, you, in the Vortex campaign, you want to be here at the Broken Lands. For example, you are going to be at war with it's called Clan Rictus. Yeah, Clan Rictus. You're probably going to attack the monoliths, but maybe you in some cases you want to get over the monoliths. You can totally do that. If you have an army here where my mouse stand, for example, and you go into the Shadow Walk stance, you can totally go here without any kind of possibility of interception by Clan Rictus, since the Shadow Walk stance can't get intercepted unless it's the end turn and you get caught into the stance at the end turn by another enemy army. So that's the only possibility that you get as to be intercepted as Nagarwraith. And talking of Alithana, his skills, the red line and blue line, and his combo skill line, the same as other High Elves lords. His special line is Revenant, okay. Ruthless, good for him, just for him. Swan to Vengeance, good only for him. Spectre, good for him. Renegade, good is really good. You should really get as the first thing Renegade. Even if you get Diplomatic Relations Malus for for High Elves, you get missile damage plus 12%, all armies faction wide, and since you are the High Elves, you really need archers, since they are very good, and boosting them even further, all armies faction wide, is amazing. And then there's Shadow King. Well, Shadow King is a bit of a strange tooltip, cause it says replaces Mislead. So Mislead is a strange ability, cause I think it's bugged. As basically Mislead says that the image cause no damage, cause it's no damage. But I actually seen the image do damage, so I think that the tooltip is back. But the ability itself, Shadow King, is amazing. Public order plus 4 all provinces is the main thing you want to get for, and also getting the Call of the Shadowlands, which is a better version of Mislead, which also boosts Alithana image, is very good. You also can get Infiltration, which is meh, and No Rest for the Wicked, good. So the items are also Shadow Crown, okay. As you can see, Alithana has a lot of things to improve ambush success chance. So I think you can get him with the right trait for also agents and terrain. You can get 100% ambush success chance. And the Moonbow also is a very good spell, actually ability. The Moonbow in battle is very good, so I think you should really get that. And that's it for Alithana. The fourth most powerful legendary lord, so the worst of the High Elves, if Eltharion won't, at least if the new patch won't totally change the High Elves. At least I hope not so, or maybe it will. But at this current time, Alithana is probably the worst of the legendary lords for the High Elves, but actually as the best faction, as Nagarwraith really is a good faction. Only second in my opinion to the damn Clan Ashen. As you can see, basically Nagarwraith is a semi-hybrid between a Skaven and an High Elves. And since Skaven is one of the most powerful race in the game, since they have also one of the best economy, they may potentially be even more powerful in the economy as the High Elves. They Nagarwraith basically adds the bonuses to the Skavens and the bonuses to the High Elves into just a faction, which makes Nagarwraith faction amazing. And that's it for today's video. As you can see, we talk a lot about the High Elves in general, and I hope you appreciate the video. And talking of which, I am going to post new videos, of course, about Total War Warhammer 2, but also I'm going to introduce Paradox games very soon, and also StarCraft 2 with arcade maps, especially strategy arcade maps. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe if you want, and bye bye.